What an exciting guest we got for you today. Today we're speaking with Mark Taylor. He talks all things COVID, from being a small jobbing company to systemising his business, buying back his time, empowering his staff, and getting his freedom back. This is one you don't want to miss. Please sit down, enjoy. And if you get value from this podcast, we encourage you to share it, spread it far and wide. The more listeners we get, the easier it is for us to keep doing this. It gives us more opportunity to bring on bigger guests and keep bringing you killer content. Welcome to the Action Playbook. I'm Jason Fox.
And I'm Coach Robin.
And we are helping leaders take action in life and business.
Hi, I'm Jason. And I'm Robin. Coach Robin. Right, let's go.
Episode 36. And today we've got a very special guest, Mark Taylor. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for the invite, eh?
Oh, I'm excited. when you agreed to come on the podcast. I've been building up for this. This is going to be a fantastic podcast today.
So where do we start, Robin?
Well, I think the first thing is, Mark, tell us a little bit about your background, what you do, how long you've been in business for.
Yep. So I'm born and bred in the beautiful Bay of Plenty, of course. Born in Whakatane, spent all my childhood years over there. It was an awesome place to grow up. And then found myself kind of like bouncing around the bay with work, and ended up in Tauranga. Absolutely love it. Slice of heaven. Wouldn't be any other place. And that's kind of where I am now, is born and bred Bay boy, Bay hard. Yep.
Excellent. And what are you doing?
So I'm a builder by trade. I own MRT Builders. I've been building for 18 years now. It's all I've ever really done since I left school. Got a major passion with the craft, as well as a major passion with creating relationships with clients. So when you own a business, it goes 2 and 2 pretty much. So just enjoying the ride, really.
Yeah, and I met you, what was that, like 2 or 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
Yep.
This is a high achievement because it's not easy to do, but I've really been impressed. I've been impressed with you as a business owner, and I've been impressed with what you've achieved. I've really, really been impressed with your abundance, that isn't just natural to business owners, and you've got it in bucket loads. So on that note, when I look at MLT, it is a successful business. But I'd like to hear from you, Mark. What does success mean to you? What does that look like?
Success to me, so let me think about that. So for me, success is, it's not the big dollar bills and living the lavish life. It's pretty simple for me, success. Family's a big part for me. My kids are, they're outdoor kids, love the old horses and fishing and outdoors and stuff, and it's right up my alley, the old fishing and hunting. So, success for me really is a lifestyle block, a couple of horses on it, a nice home, something easy to clean, easy to maintain, and that's really what success for me is just living a nice lifestyle with my family. Like, that's pretty much my goal in life, is just chipping away at that, slowly chipping away.
You can hear in what you're saying there that you want an easy to maintain home and stuff. So basically you're saying success is time.
Yeah.
You want to free yourself up to be able to do what you want, because if you've got a lifestyle block that needs a whole lot of work, obviously you get stuck there, right? You can't go hunting because you're mowing the lawns and cutting trees.
Yep.
So you're trying to buy your time back.
Yes. Our family's got a bit of a lifestyle block, and there's always something to be done on that. It's a lovely property, but there's always something to be done there. But long-term goals, lifestyle block, chickens, a couple of sheep, cows, watch horses, and yeah, that's success for me. It's nothing special, but that's what I love.
Boats in the yards for the fishing.
Yeah, there's a boat there.
Yeah.
There's a boat there.
Yeah, I love that, and it really fits into the action coach definition of a business, which is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you.
Yep.
And that's what I'm getting, right? It's that financial freedom and the time freedom, both of those, and they go hand in hand because you can choose what it is that you want to do, when you want to do it.
Oh, yeah, freedom.
Yep.
Right. Time with the family, that's success to me. Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I was so excited to have you on this podcast is the one thing you've done extremely well in your business is systemization. The systemization of MLT is for me one of the standout features of what has allowed you to build the business that you have today.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Without systems, you don't have efficiency. Well, with efficiency, to get efficiency, you need a routine. But with a system is maximising that efficiency, I guess. So for me, without the systems in my life is hectic.
Chaotic.
Yeah, and I'm the type of person where I need routine and systems to feel like it's working for me. So creating systems in my life, not only business, but my lifestyle as well, it really kind of makes me be able to get up that next morning and get into it. But yeah, it's definitely the one that's kind of set me apart from like being able to reach for those goals, those systems. Yeah.
When you say you got systems in your personal life, is that like get out of bed at 5 o'clock, do 1,000 push-ups? What?
So my lifestyle is pretty well planned out. I learned this in business as well, is setting up like a default diary. So, and it's all on my calendar, as well as I'm old school, I like to write it down as well, but it's always in the calendar. So like on a Monday morning, there's team meetings on a Monday morning.
Sure.
Setting up all the to-dos for the week, like what are we analysing for the week, and then even to when it comes to going home, like hanging out with the kids, it's always there. There's always a notification. I don't know why there's a notification, but that's just how I work. Yeah. Just having it written down or something's telling me, okay, just remember this is there to be done.
Yeah, it's a trigger point.
And I pretty much live like that. And I just feel complete. I don't feel lost. Without that, I just feel lost. I just kind of, there's a lot of wasted time. So for me, systems in my lifestyle and in my business, just kind of, I can maximize the most out of me when it's like that. That's just kind of how I work anyway. Yeah.
Do you think you should cover off what a default diary is for the listeners? Because a lot of them will go, what's the default diary? I've got a diary at home.
Yeah. I mean, very, very briefly, a default diary is just where you organize your time in a way that you always know that A, there's time allocated to do the things that need to get done, but B, that you know exactly when that is. So it just gives you that peace of mind. You always know, right, like you said, Mark, on a Monday you have your team meeting. On a Tuesday you do your,
payroll invoices.
There we go, you see. And that's such a great example because the whole point of having that default diary is to be organized, but more importantly, so that it gives you the peace of mind that you know exactly where you're going to be and what you need to do when.
It just helps with like planning. It's all part of the system. So, working our way through the week. Thursdays that's the day that I schedule all my consultations. It's not really for a client for me to ask when they're available. I'm in a position now where, this is our time and we can allocate some time. Thursdays are my days and on the odd occasion Wednesdays. And then Fridays are for job site reviews and then weekends for family. So
I think what you just covered off there, the clients fit into your schedule is one of the most important parts of the default diary. I was talking about this with one of our risk insurance guys a couple of days ago, and we're all guilty of, I know I've got a whole lot of paperwork I need to do, but someone rings you and goes, oh, when are you available? Actually, I've got nothing booked in Thursday or Friday. is there a time that suits you? Oh, I don't really know. I don't know what my day's going to look like.
Yeah.
And then you don't know what your day looks like either, versus if you rung and you had in your default diary, Thursday from 1 till 5 is when I've got appointments, and you go, you know what, I can do 1 o'clock on Thursday, or I can do 3:30. Which one suits you?
Yeah.
And then you put it back on them. They're like, oh, okay, this time's actually really valuable. I'll jump on that 3:30. That's going to work great. I'll see you then.
Yeah.
And you've got that structure in your own life.
Yeah, I found with a default diary, because I've been doing it now for 4 years, is that if you were to start off doing a default diary, don't feel committed to always stick to it. Like, it can change up.
Can be fluid.
Yeah, because I often do change up my default diary that suits, and sometimes things double book, and that's okay, but as long as that default diary is there, it's just a reminder. So yeah, at the start for me, jumping into a default diary, that type of system of organising my business, it was overwhelming, but if you stick to it, it's almost like, it's a habit. Once you stick to it, it becomes normal, becomes a habit. And it's not like you're always like, oh, I've got to do that. It's just a habit.
100%. And it's a process. It's a journey, isn't it? Because when you're living in chaos and you wanting to get organized, you don't just wake up one day and go, oh, I'm done with chaos today. From today onwards, I'm totally organized, right?
I was wondering why they hadn't worked yet.
It's a transition. It's a transformation that takes time to make it habitual as you now experience it.
Yeah. So it's just a daily routine for me now. But yeah.
So when did you decide that systemization was the key to the future of your success?
I think it was going into lockdown. Everything was kind of in the air. I hadn't quite established my business at that point. I knew I had the skills behind me, and I had worked for other companies and stuff with my years in the trade of doing these big jobs and, nice homes and stuff. And I always kind of like thought about it, like, what am I doing differently? Why can't I get these projects, and what am I doing wrong here? And that's when, lockdown hit. It was kind of like a make or break for me. Cash flow was pretty poor. So I had to make some massive decisions, not only in my business, but for my life. Do I really want this, or am I going to crumble? So I made the decision to do a bit of homework and looking into coaching and stuff. And
business coaching?
Yeah, business coaching. And I was very nervous because I was always that person where, I always taught myself. But I jumped in, and then...
I'm just going to interrupt you there for a second, right? So just refreshing that story, you're struggling with cash flow, and your solution was to spend more money on business coaching.
That was like, the make or break. And the make or break was that I couldn't actually afford the coaching.
Mm.
So if I was to sign up, I had to do the work. And if I didn't do the work, it was over. It was literally over. So, yeah, I rolled the dice, got in front of a coach. Thankfully for me, I had, 2 months in lockdown? I had 2 months to get my A into G and focus on certain areas in my business to elevate me to the next level, and it started with systems. So, and the thing is with the systems, it's there's such a wide range of systems involved in a construction business, but it was very daunting. But I just, one bit at a time, and worked hard, probably worked harder than I've ever worked in the office going into lockdown. Seen all my friends like drinking and stuff on Zoom and stuff. I had a couple of days, but majority of the time I was in that office knuckling down, figuring out my own systems for sales, client management, operations, office systems, and that's what put me in a position. And then I've just been building ever since, really building on those systems. Yeah. But that's what started it for me, was make or break.
Well, I've got some bad news for you. Sorry, Jason. I've got some bad news for you, because once you've finalized, you've finished off systemizing the whole business, you go back to the beginning and you start again.
Yep.
There's room for improvement. Yeah.
But to be honest, like that process, I love that process. Going back and critiquing your original work to make it better, because at the end of the day, what that does is the efficiency and the quality becomes, you deliver a better product. And in most cases, if you're upgrading your system, you're doing it a lot easier than you were before. So there's more time spent elsewhere. Kind of like, that's how I see it. I'm actually in the middle of that process at the moment.
So
Good timing.
It sounds like obviously you've got a lot of time to do this, so you're not swinging a hammer all day. So at the start, rewinding to COVID, what was your team? How many people did you have in your team at that point?
I think it was three of us. Two or three of us. We were literally working on fences, decks, the odd small addition.
Sure.
Struggling really, just job by job.
And you got two guys you got to pay as well.
Yeah, and they're two good friends of mine, so I was like, I felt obliged to keep them busy and just suck it all up and move on to the next one.
What sort of size are you today?
There's it'll be 6 builders on site plus myself in the office. Okay. Looking to expand further. Yeah. With the climate we have now, I'm very strategic with bringing people in. I try to look after my own before we just hire willy-nilly. So, but yeah, we're in a position now where we've forecasted for the rest of the year. A couple of good projects in the works, as well as what's to come. So I'm in a position now to set up that system to bring in some quality craftsmen for these projects to come. Yep. But no rush right now, just working on what we have, my team I have now, pushing the skills into them to turn them into better people.
So just rewinding back, right? So back in those days, the COVID days, you were looking at decks and fences and sort of anything that you could pick up. Yep. But I think for the listeners, I think it's important that they understand that your business now is on the very high end of renovations, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we're usually doing $1 million renovations, but we still dazzle in $200,000 renovations when we can fit one in. But majority of our work is nice homes, very architectural. They're usually a handful for a builder. We're working with quite tricky projects, pole homes, like pole houses, and old 60s, 70 builds with just crazy design and trying to modernise them. So, yeah, we're doing some really cool stuff now. When I reflect back, it's pretty crazy, but I'm very thankful for what I have now, thankful for my team. Hard work is obviously paying off, and yeah, I'm looking forward to what the future brings anyway.
So just looking at your team, or talking about your team, how involved are they in the systemization and the feedback loop that gives you the information you need to keep improving?
Yep. So that's a big thing for me. Now not being on the tools, it's a big thing for me. I've got to make sure there's accountability on site. Typical me back, I used to always feel like I needed to be on site, and I guess that's a big pivotal. That point there is another make or break. If you can't get off the tools and get into that office and do what you need to be doing, I can't see there's growth there. So swallowing the pill and accepting the fact that I've actually put a lot of time into my team, I can trust my team on site and give them accountability, that's helped me hugely with being able to carry on with what I'm doing in the background. And so we have a couple of systems of our teams on site. So whenever someone's employed by me, they get what their weekly tasks are for what their role is. So I've created a form where they have from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all their tasks that they need to be doing in their role. So an apprentice, the first thing an apprentice does in the morning is he sets up the site for the foreman. And then he's asking the foreman, what's our next thing we're doing? He's just keeping the foreman busy because the foreman's the one that's steering the ship. And in regards to a foreman, the first thing he's doing is he's checking his to-dos that's been set by the project manager. So he knows what he's doing for the day. And then at the end of the day, he's sitting down with his apprentice and telling his apprentice what they're doing at the end of the day. And another part of that foreman role is at the end of every day, they're taking photos of what they've done for the day, and then they upload that onto our software to the particular job card. And what that means is that I can stay in the office, do what I'm doing. I don't even need to go on site and check. I can see what they've done for the day. I can type up the next to-dos if it's not already done, and the machine's rolling without me.
Do you find with them uploading those photos and stuff that you have to check in later in the day to be able to set their to-dos for tomorrow?
No. So usually the way it's all set up with to-dos, it starts from the very early stages of pricing. So when a plan lands on my lap, I like to go through page by page, break down every single task that's involved with constructing this home. And then I allocate hours to those tasks for pricing. And then once the quote's all finished and contracts are signed, I then draw that data from the quoting stage for all the tasks that's involved with it. I draw that over to the project management app, and they go straight to the job. So there's already lists of each item in each sector that the team knows in each order how it goes, and there's a timeline there for the team to follow. So it seems to be working. Like, there's always room for improvement, but it's really allowing me to do what I need to do in the office and be with the clients, pricing, creating the relationships that I want to be creating to move my business forward. So, yeah.
So, for somebody listening to the podcast, they might be thinking right now, gee, that sounds like a lot of extra work. So, the systems are there to create efficiencies, right?
Yep.
So how does your team respond to that? Like, do they, when you put down a new system for them to follow, are they going, oh no, more work? Or are they going, oh yay, this is going to make life better for us?
Funny you say that. We had a team meeting this week. It was on Monday. So every Monday we have a team meeting. And obviously with me working my magic in the office, always trying to make things better for systems, as I've come up with a bright idea recently, and they're all there. I've put it in front of them and said, look, this is how I feel it will help us progress through the job and be more efficient. Things won't be missed. And I always ask them the question, do you agree with this work? Are you happy with this? And if there's someone, not that I've had anyone say, I don't like doing this, or the question I would ask is, what's the issue and how can we fix it? How can we make it easier? But it's always, those systems of the team is always to try and make it easier for them, so they're not having to juggle multiple items and try. It's always comes down to a remember thing. Like, if you don't have systems with employees, relying on them to remember things without it written down or in a system, is you can't guarantee it. There's always something that's going to get missed. So I find creating these systems and these to-dos and stuff for the employees to follow, the team to follow, it's so much more efficient. You can tick, you're ticking everything that needs to be done. It's a checklist.
And a key thing you said there too is you asked them,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
is this going to work? So you've actually got their buy-in
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
this is what you must do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is this fair and reasonable? Yep, cool. We all agree you can get that done tomorrow. Awesome. Carry on, guys.
Yeah, no, like, I understand it's like, because working with a lot of, like, the older generation carpenters, everything wasn't software back in the day. It was written down. And so to get them to buy in is your biggest part. The apprentices, they're just kind of, it's normal to them because everything's new. So as long as you can get your older team, like the older players in the trade, to, I guess, buy into it, you know, everything works well.
Yep.
But there's always, like I said, there's always room for improvement on these systems. Like, yeah, like I like to work with my foremen separately, and then I also sit down with my apprentices as well. So yeah, for instance, Friday we've had it booked in. We made a goal this year. I sat down with my apprentices and we made a goal this year, and we want the BCITO advisors to be thinking when they see the MLT apprentices on their timeline that, they're coming up for a visit. These are the guys, I look forward to these guys because they always got their shit together.
Right.
So yeah, I sat down with my apprentices. We all agreed that's what we want BCITO to be thinking about our team. So in that, I'm holding them accountable for their end. So yeah, as we pick a couple of subjects, at the end of the month we sit down and then I test my team separately and yeah, go from there. So it's all growth, It's all growth.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that systems do, I mean, we talk about this all the time in the podcast, you know, the difference between being reactive and being proactive. And I think that's what systems do, is it puts you on the front foot. It makes the business more proactive for your clients, for your team, for everyone, because it eliminates chaos. And reactive, a business that's set up to be reactive, it's going to create chaos, right?
Yep.
And if there's one thing that's coming through from this chat now, it's that there's, first of all, for you, there's comfort in control, but also there's a lot of benefit in that efficiency that is created for your business. That's great. So you've just touched on a little bit of how you use technology as part of the systemization of your business. Maybe you could just touch a little bit more on that, because for me, when I'm working with a client, I always try and get them to work on paper first, figure out what it is that they want to do, and then go and find some technology that can support that process, rather than just jumping in, getting a piece of technology or an app or something, and then trying to make it fit into what it is you want. How do you go about that?
So is this for my clients, working in with clients?
Or just in your business in general? You know, how do you start? The implementation of technology is something that you've done in your business. So how do you go about starting the process of systemizing from this is what I need to do to, hey, here it is. I found the perfect software that can do what I need it to do.
Well, firstly, it starts with like what I call is the A to Z for your business, working out where your weak points are. And I just allocate time to work on my business, and it could be sales, and I'll do my homework into sales and what's out there that would benefit me in regards to making a streamlined process for my clients and easy on my end. So before I even learnt systems, I didn't even know what a CRM is, and having that system in place it's a game changer for me. Everything flows. So with the CRM system that I use with working in with my clients, it goes all the way to a client lead coming in, scheduling the first consultation, and that technology, it's literally just a tick of a box. So green light means done, orange and working in progress, red not done. So I'm working my way through this checklist. It's all on a table: design, consented plans, pricing, contract placed, contract signed, pre-construction, construction, and then it moves on to the next system. But I guess it started with the A to Z's, kind of like my A to Z of how to run a building business, and working my way through that list of how to systemize each part to make everything work for me a lot easier, and as well as making it an enjoyable journey for the clients going into renovations, because it's pretty crazy for a first time client going into a renovation not knowing to expect. So we just try with all this technology and stuff around with what we find, and we test and measure it just to make sure it works as it's all for making that process smooth for the client. And it's definitely helped us in the long run. Like, we've heard a lot of good feedback from construction projects we've completed in regards to our processes and stuff. So, yeah.
I mean, I've even heard from the contractors that you've used how enjoyable it is to go onto an MLT project versus other builders, because everything is so well organized.
Yeah,
and streamlined.
I do get that feedback a lot, and it's kind of weird because I've never had myself to compare to someone else and see what they do. It's always just focus on me, stay in my lane. So to hear them say that, it's a good feeling. It means I'm doing something right, and obviously they enjoy coming onto site. And when you have a tradesman turn up on site, and if they're in a good mood, their work is going to be good. So, if you, to a tradesman turning up in a bad mood that doesn't want to do the job, their work's probably not going to be so good. So, yeah, it's always good to hear that. That was probably one of the most nervous, like going into systems, bringing systems in regards to subcontractors. Trying to get the subcontractors on board was my initial thought, was probably my biggest fear, was they probably won't want to do that.
Not going to buy into it.
No, they're not going to buy into it. And I was just nervous, like, gosh, this could all just go, this just might not work. But sitting down and thinking and going, well, if I'm putting these systems in place and they buy into it, and we do an amazing job, client's happy, we get another job, it's just going to be a roll-on effect. So it was a matter of me going, well, do they want the work or not? And if they do, they'll buy into the business. We've got a good thing going here. So, yeah, that was probably my biggest fear. It's a weird one. I was worried about what other people thought, and then once I broke that barrier, it was sweet. Everything's actually rolling really well. I'm getting good feedback for it. Let's keep doing these systems. Yeah.
And in doing that, you've actually made those tradesmen salesmen for you.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell then talking to their mate who's building a home, he's like, mate, you should deal with this company. Like, they're definitely talking about you if they're getting that kind of experience on site.
Yeah. I've got a bit of a thing now where I've built my team of sub-trades. They all know our systems that we run. They get their notifications prior to them needing to be on site. They know how my workflow works with construction and projects, and also I bring in my sub-trades in to meet the clients prior to the very start. Wow. So when we organise that, is that we already know I've got the painting owner here, I've got the plumbing owner here, I've got the electrician owner here, I've got, you name it. We're all there turning up as a team. We look like a team. We are a team. And we all deliver amazing projects for clients, and it's just a draw towards the client. You're probably better off with a team turning up than one single man. So for them to buy into that, my system of going and seeing clients with me, is it kind of makes us stand out. So yeah, sub-trades buy-in has been great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even to competitors, you know. So I mean, right at the beginning, I spoke about how I've always been impressed with your abundant approach to helping everybody around you.
Yeah.
And I love that about you, Mark. I mean, it's something I truly respect. And I mean, I had to learn to be abundant. I feel like you've always just been abundant. Like,
Oh, I've got my mother to thank for that, eh?
Yeah.
She, my mother, she had it hard. She had a hard life. She didn't have much to give, but she gave it all. And she raised my brothers and sisters exactly the same as
and you.
As to be a giver and a helper, and it's obviously rubbed off on me growing up as an adult. And like it's almost I enjoy that sort of stuff, is helping other people out, whether it's another sub trade out or giving a young school leaver an opportunity that's struggling to find a job, but it's got the can-do attitude. It's a must for me to be able to give those people an opportunity, because I was one of those people. That's another story, but I was
another podcast maybe.
Oh, maybe
Come
that
back
would be
again.
The story of my upbringing and where I am today. But anyway, I love helping people out.
Well, I remember you telling me, you didn't tell it to me this way, but I know that you've even systemized being abundant. So the story you told me was, you've set up this online system for qualifying leads that come in.
Oh, yes.
And so it allows you to be able to pick the jobs that fit and suit you and what you want to do, and the type of work you want to do. But then there's all these other leads that could just be, could just fall by the wayside. But that's not what you do with it.
No, so Tauranga is not a big place. I've worked with a lot of tradesmen around here, and a lot of those people have gone out on their own, and they're trying to do their things, and times are hard. So with leads that don't qualify on our end, I've got a list of builders that I help out and pass over work to, and that's it's a cool thing, because I remember at that time when work was like dry and you really needed it, and when it was there, it was like heaven sent. So when I can help out people on those leads, I'd rather someone I know that I can trust that's going to do the job. I'll give them work. I'd give them a real hot lead, and I'll say, ring them right now. They've touched base with me, and it's all yours. And there's a number of builders that I'm giving work to. So
Good man. Yeah, it's a win-win-win, right? Because those inquiries have come to you because they want to work with you or someone like you. You saying, right, no, sorry, it's not gonna work for us right now, but let me help you by putting you in touch with somebody that I know can do the work and that I trust, which is almost as good as working with MLT directly.
But that has benefited me as well, though. Like on the odd occasion, there's something will come up and there's a bit of a push, or there's a weather window we want to meet. Those guys that I'm giving work to, they're there at the drop of the bell. They'll turn up to help us out when we need that push. Doesn't happen very often, but it has happened once before, when there's a big weather window coming in and you just want to make sure everything's locked and loaded and ready to hit the storm, as those guys have showed up. It's all, I've scratched their back and then they scratch my back kind of thing. Yep.
Love it. I love it. You really are an inspiration to me. And so future plans. What's the future plans for MLT? So you're going to get off the tools. Or you are off the tools. I am off the tools. Yeah.
So, future plans. At this stage, I wrote my goals down last year. Is I don't have a massive vision, like a massive vision board for it. I want to work on what I can see in front of me, And I think a big thing for me is meeting people that can help me and I can help them. So networking. So I want to strengthen relationships of people that are in the trade or, like can help me, I can help them, that sort of stuff. Work on systems, just keep working on systems. I've got an addiction to working on my systems, and I'd love to give, like I was saying before, the younger youth that are finding it hard to get a job, those opportunities and training them up and getting a trade under their belt and the opportunity to buy their first home. That's a massive passion for me. Like I'd like to drive towards that with the businesses, giving people opportunity and training them up. But yeah, nothing massive, just working on the little things. Yeah.
Awesome. So if you were talking to your younger self who's just starting out in business, what is the advice that you would give yourself, your younger self?
It would be make time for yourself. Make time for yourself. Make time for your family. And work hard. Yeah. Stick to the routine. Time will help you. It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah, I just keep at it, chip at it. Don't get overwhelmed by the big picture. You want to be a big millionaire because it doesn't happen overnight. You got to chip at it. But yeah, and yeah, enjoy life. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. If you don't enjoy the ride, you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, the person that enjoys walking will walk further than the person that's trying to get to the destination.
Yeah. That's a big thing for me is enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Yeah, and be prepared to do the work, I think is such a good message too. Yeah. So many people come out of it going, all right, Lamborghinis and penthouses. They forget the hard work, and then they fall into the trap where their business becomes their life, and they forget that business is the enabler for life. It's there to provide you a better life, not be your life.
Not to take over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Mark, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today.
I loved it. Enjoyed it.
Well, it's been great having you, and thanks for sharing. I think for anyone listening, hopefully you'll be inspired by Mark and his story, but also the message, which is, get proactive in the business and systemize, get ahead of it.
Stick to it. Sweet. No, thanks for having me. Enjoyed that. Bit nervous, still a little bit shaky, but it's all right. It's all part of the process.
He did it all without a beer. What a good man. 1 + 1 = 3. There you go.
1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that's what systemization does, right?
Yep.
It gives you the ability to leverage to get more with less. Love
On
it.
that fact, thank you.
Take action.
We're going to have to edit that in